Hey guys, James with Torches and Tactical, and today oh man, I hate to do this, but honestly, I have a little bit of disappointing news. Today we are reviewing the Wuben X2 Pro. Now this is the RGB version. This one's fully kitted out with the helmet adapter, the diffuser, as well as the rear tack switch. But we are also going to take a look at the UV version. And I say a little bit disappointed because if I'm honest, in a long time, this is probably the flashlight I am least impressed with. I've had a few, a black, a white. I even had a copper X2, and I absolutely loved them. I still have the black and the white. I did sell the copper to a friend of mine, but I digress. Man, I hate doing videos like this just because I think Wuben is a good company. I think they typically put out good lights. However, I feel like in order to add a bunch of these additional features like the pivoting RGB lights or UV, as well as the side switch, I feel like quality kind of stepped down. And mainly, I've seen a lot of information online about people just frankly being upset with Wuben in general. The X2 Pro was a Kickstarter, and they have had nothing but complaints about their customer service, and they've had nothing but complaints about their ship times. There are still people that have not received their Kickstarter orders, and I mean, frankly, when you can get them on Amazon and get them faster than the Kickstarter, which is supposed to be those who are helping R&D and development process or progress, then I mean, I think there's an issue with that. The biggest issue, I think, is when there are issues either with customer service or I'm sorry, not customer service, but either with shipping or the actual light itself. It seems like a lot of those go unanswered. Now, I don't want you to think this is all just going to dog on Wuben because, again, I think they typically put out pretty nice lights. Something just seems to fall by the wayside when it comes to their customer service in general. And I mean, frankly, I would forego I'd forego the side lights in order to get more output from the front. But I digress. I do want to run through just very quickly. So this is the box that the X2 Pro comes in. So this is the RGB version. Right here will tell you if it is the RGB or the UV version, which is nice. But another thing I'm not quite impressed with is the X2, the X3, and I mean, frankly, even the XO with their plastic front. I do think that all of those packages held up a lot better. Now, I don't know if this was from Wuben or if this was from Amazon, but frankly, I mean, the box seems like it's fallen apart already. These tabs are either bending or already broken. And actually, I'll pull up this one just real fast so you can see it. So you can see that the tabs are already broken on this side. And I understand that there is something to be said about, saving packing material and stuff like that. But it does detract from the quality feel that you would expect when you're paying, in some cases upwards of, 80 or in the case of an X1, up maybe even $140 for a light. But this is what looks inside the package. Inside the package, you do receive obviously your X2 Pro in either the RGB or the UV. You get that user manual, and definitely hang on to the user manual because this has a lot of information, especially with the 3-mode side switch. I mean, there's a lot of information that's going to come up that you may want to reference later. But you do also get a excuse me, you do also get a USB-A to USB-C Wuben branded cable, and then you receive the lanyard as well. Frankly, I don't think I'm even going to get to the point where the lanyard gets on my X2 Pro. And again, it's not a bad light. I just think there are a lot of deficiencies, especially compared to the original X2, that make me not want to daily drive this. Now for the accessories, you do have the option of a diffuser. This was included with mine, but I don't know if it is with every package. And you do have the rear tactical tail switch as well. And I'll tell you right now, the way to take that on and off is you can unlock that tail switch and this just slides on. Do not, and I speak from experience, do not try to slip this on while it is closed. You want to open it up, get it on there, and that'll hold it captive, so it won't go anywhere. But it does work. It only lights up in that main or general mode, whichever mode you already had set. But now, without all the accessories on it, I do want to go over some of the specs for this. Now, this will hit turbo of 1500 lumens before dropping down to 500 lumens. It does also have a high mode of 400 lumens, medium of 150, and a low of 15. Now, if you have the UV version, so you have a white light right here, and then you have a UV right here. And actually, I'll just go ahead and pop that on so you can see it real fast. There you go. There's that UV light. So not the most power output. I would have liked to see a little bit more on that. But that white light will hit 400 lumens. And then you also have 365 nanometers is what the range is for that UV light. Now, when it comes to run times, you can expect 90 hours from the front of this in low, and the beam, when it's in throw mode, will go out to up to 205 meters. If you want to know how tough it is, apparently it does a pretty decent job. Now, I haven't dropped these, but this will do 1 meter drop resistance rating and IP68 to 2 meters underwater for an hour, so that's not bad. Now, if you have just the flashlight by itself without all the accessories on it, it does come in at 136 grams or 4.8 ounces, and that is with the batteries. So pretty light. You can get a couple of these before you start to feel it. And it does measure in at 91 by 41 by 26 millimeters. So pretty compact, although the X2 was more compact and gave out more output. Again, not to draw too many comparisons, but I really did like the X2, and I think the X2 Pro may have more features, but as far as its output and everything, might be a step back. There are a few redeeming qualities. Mainly, I love the fact that you can hot swap these batteries. I think that is a fantastic choice on Wuben's part. So I will go ahead and show you the flashlight now. You get your, so this lens here is set up for flood, and then it will go into a throw mode. And what's really nice is you can actually go ahead and come up here, turn it on, and you can dial it to whatever mode you're liking. So this one here, like I said, is flood, and you can roll this forward and you can see those start to change. And now, well, here, let me show you down here. So you can go between flood mode, it'll flash when it reaches full extension, and then go back again, and then it's in throw mode. And again, throw will reach out to 205 meters. But you can see it is held down, has that black. And this is one more thing that I'm not sure of. This does have a 5-year warranty on it, but I've seen a couple flashlights with external rotating assemblies, and my guess, I haven't done a teardown, but my guess is in between here, there's just going to be a greased up O-ring, and I'm not sure what to do about, if you move this around a lot, I'm not sure what's going to happen as far as that O-ring drying out and then becoming brittle and breaking. And frankly, I wish the tolerances were a little bit tighter here. This does, I don't want to say cheap, because it's not a cheap light. But this does feel very gimmicky, like it was an afterthought. There's a lot of play in there, and I do wish they had taken a different approach to that. You can see on the side here, you do have your lock mode for the switch, and then you can go to side light. That will activate the side light in either UV or white, and then you can go to the front lights. So that's going to be either the flood or the throw, or somewhere in between, depending on what you're looking for. So we can come down typical X2 designs here. I'd love to see a tritium fill up this gap right there. On the back, you can see that pocket clip, again, very similar to the EDC or ECL carry, everyday carry light design that they've been carrying forward. But I will show you real fast with the attachment. So this does come in 2 pieces. You can see that seam right there, and it splits around the pocket clip, and then it secures with 1 screw. So this will actually attach to a tactical helmet. But going back to this, we'll look at this battery, the battery door. It is magnetic, so you can set this up as a work light. Although since there's such little rotation, I don't know how effective it's going to be as a directional right angle work light. So again, one of my favorite parts about this is the fact that it comes with 2 Wuben branded 920 milliamp hour 14500 cells. So you can swap these. And what's nice about this is it will work. There we go. It'll work with 2. If voltage starts to drop, you ready for this? It'll work with 1. And I have even tested this with AA batteries, and it did work. Maybe I was just above that threshold because it will operate with the 3.7 volts from 1 cell, but it did operate. And then when those are in place, you can go ahead and lock this in place as well. So just a little push down here, and your battery door is not going to swing open on you. So very nicely done. I do like the finish of the light. I will give it that. I love the finish of this light. Now, if we get through since we've been through all the specifications, I will go ahead and move it from lock now. And we go into the side light mode. And from here, you have white, and you can press and hold. That'll do a switch between UV. Let's switch back between there. And from here, you can rotate that dial and go all the way to your maximum of 400 lumens. Now, I'm going to set this here so you can see how well that light does bleed off. So that's all 400 lumens right there. All right, so you can see it does light up, but again, you don't have the most movement there, so it could be something that makes it so it may not serve as functional of a right angle work light as possible. Now, another thing you can do while you're on the side is double press, and it will go max 400 lumens from that turbo, or turbo for that side light. And then you can rotate, or I guess move the switch to the front position. And from here you can press it on, and that will turn the light on. Then you can go ahead and obviously press and go off. When you press one more time, you can rotate that dial and go between. It started at flood right there and just came over to spot mode, but you can press and hold. And this will go low, medium, high, and then you can do turbo as well. There you go. So that will go directly to turbo mode. Now, if you do want to lock this out, you can go ahead and just simply switch that all the way down. You can see that lock right there. You can switch that down, and now you don't have to worry about it activating in your pocket. And if you do have the side light set into a bunch of weird modes and the front set into a bunch of weird modes, one thing you can do is when it is in lock mode, you can go 1, 2, 3, and here 1, 2, 3. There we go. You can see it flash, and that will factory reset it. So when you activate it again, it goes back to evenly spaced. So that's kind of a nice feature, just in case you ever want to get back to the point where there is a setting in which you're going to need, but you don't remember what it was set to. So I will open this up one more time and show you those 920 milliamp hour 14500 cells. The part number on these is ABF920. And I do like the fact that those are included with this as well. You can see the gold springs and the solid contacts down at the end. And I can only assume that these contacts are for when you have that rear tactical switch installed on the back. So I do want to go ahead and show you the accessories and the RGB side. So for the RGB side, here, let's go ahead and actually, I'll show you with the cover. So let's go, this is 1500 lumens with that red diffuser cover on it, but now I'll go ahead and take that off because you've seen how that works. When I said earlier that the tactical switch will set it up or operate it in whatever general mode you had set, what I mean is if this is, here, let's go ahead and press. Okay, now we're at low mode. I'm going to go ahead and press that, turn it off. And if I press that rear tactical switch, it will just go into low mode and low mode only. So that's one thing that you'll want to keep in mind when it comes to the operation of that rear tactical switch. Whatever you had it set in a general mode before it shut off, that's what you're going to be able to use. So we move forward. The front mode is still going to be the same. You can go all the way up, and then you can rotate, do all that fun stuff. The difference is going to be when you have, here, let's press and hold. The difference is going to be when you have RGB. Now, one thing that's really nice about this is you'll be able to rotate. Once it is in RGB mode, you can't change the brightness, but you will be able to rotate what color you want. So if you want a specific color, you can go ahead and dial that in specifically. There you go. And from here, you can press twice, and it will do beacons. So again, those RGB colors will come up as beacons, and it will choose whatever color you had from the last mode. So if you have, let's go ahead and do red here. do a double press, it will be a red beacon. So it'll correspond with whatever color you had set, which is, a really good thing to have. When the light is off though, you can do a double press, and this will go to a red and blue strobe, and one more double press. This will go to a red and green strobe, and one more double press will go to a red and yellow strobe. So I don't know if there are any legalities for the other colors, but I know red and blue in the United States will get you kind of a slap on the wrist as far as impersonating an officer potentially. So that is one thing to keep in mind when it comes to what flashing mode you are using. Do not impersonate an officer, please. So I will go ahead and shut that off. And guys, I do know that you want to see how this acts outside. I probably won't go through the RGB, but I will do the side light just because those are consistent among both models. But I want to show you what the 1500 lumens from the front does, what the white side light does, and so you guys can see if this is something that interests you. So let's get outside and do that. All right, guys, tonight we are out with the Wuben X2 Pro. So I brought the RGB as well as the UV version. So I'm going to run through the RGB and everything like that first. Then I'll cut to a different video, and that will go, I'll show you guys what the UV is capable of. We did just have a cold spell, so it's not going to get too in-depth as far as the UV right now, just because a lot of the creepy crawlies are still hidden away. But let's just get straight into it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and flick it over to the secondary mode, or the side light. So you can see white right here. You can see this is just from that side light right there. So 400 lumens. And you can roll the dial, drop it all the way down. And then if you do a long press, it'll go over to RGB, and you can rotate that dial and cycle through a whole bunch of different colors. So no matter what side color you might want or need, this will do a really good job for you. Now I'm going to go ahead, shut that off. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over to the main mode. And right now I'm in low, and this is 15 lumens, so it still shines out quite a bit. Press and hold. This is medium. This is 400 lumens. I apologize. This is 150 lumens. Then press and hold one more time. Now we're at 400 lumens for high. And if you want to hit all 1500 lumens, let's just go ahead and do a double press. 1, 2. Now this is 1500 lumens from the X2 Pro. And while you do have it here, I'm going to show you guys, while you do have it at turbo, you can go ahead and change the brightness down. But when you're on any of the other modes, here, let's go ahead and go into high. You can rotate that dial and switch between spot mode right here, and then come back and it'll flash. There we go. So this is full flood for that 400 lumens on high. All right, now you have seen the RGB. I want to go ahead and show you guys what that UV will do. Actually, before I do that, I will cut directly over with the UV light. So let's go ahead and turn it on. So here we have UV here, and press and hold again. Obviously you still do get that side light, and this will go all the way up to 400 lumens. But let's go press and hold, and we're gonna walk over now. Unfortunately, this does seem pretty dim. It is a little bit hard to see. Here you go. You can see there's some of the fungus on these plants over here. For my particular area and this time of year, this is probably the best I'm going to get you, unless I happen to do some currency. But I mean, you've seen UV testing on currency, you've seen one, you've seen them all. So I just want to show you guys how the fluorescence in the fungus out here do work. So if that's something that you're into, you can go ahead and try that out. But now that we've seen what the X2 Pro is capable of, let's go ahead and get back inside. All right, guys, we went outside and we saw the X2 Pro in UV and we saw the X2 Pro in RGB. Now, I didn't say it before, but yes, I did think about it while I was out there. I wanted to show you guys how the UV worked on the X2 Pro as well. So I made sure to include that. But let me know down in the comments what you guys thought about the X2 Pro. I'm not saying it's a bad light. I'm just saying there seems to be a lot of things that Wuben needs to work on. I do think the addition of the accessories is nice, but when it's a lower output and frankly harder to use than the regular X2, I do think that wouldn't qualify as a pro moniker. I think that would be, I don't know, maybe make it an X5 or X4 or something like that. But the X2 Pro, I don't frankly think fits this model very well. I am a little concerned about, again, the seals. I think it is just a lubed O-ring in between there. I wish the tolerances were tighter so it felt a little more well designed, frankly. But it is still, it's a light that works, and it works well. But let me know in the comments if you guys agree with my synopsis on, or with my judgment on the X2 Pro. So guys, I will include some links down in the comments and the description if you do want to pick up the X2 Pro for yourself on Amazon or directly through Wuben. And finally, if you guys could like this video and share it with your friends, that'd be fantastic. Additionally, so go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And when you do, click on that bell notification, because that'll let you know when we do have more reviews coming up. So thank you guys so much for spending this time with me, and we'll see you in the next one.